a recent CNN poll, I think it's a CNN poll, and that might invalidate it to some degree that CNN did it, and I'm not sure whether it's a CNN or whether it was done by some other pollster, indicating now that 51% of the American people believe that Trump should not only be impeached, but should be removed. And let me just read some of this. It says, about half of Americans say the Senate should vote to convict President Donald Trump, or Tribulation Trump, and remove him from office in the upcoming impeachment trial. 51%, according to a new CNN poll, so it was conducted by the SSRS, while 45% say the Senate should vote against conviction and removal. Nearly 7 in 10, 69%, say the upcoming trial should feature testimony from new witnesses who did not testify in the White House in the House impeachment inquiry. And as Democrats in the Senate seek to persuade at least 4 Republicans to join them on votes or over allowing witnesses in the trial, the Republican rank and file are divided on this question. 48% say they want new witnesses, while 44% say they do not. Now, you have 48% of Republicans saying they want new witnesses, and that's not a majority, but there are more than 44% who say that they don't. The poll is the first major national telephone poll since the articles of impeachment were sent to the Senate, formally launching Tribulation Trump's trial there. They are also the first such poll results since Soviet-born businessman Lev Parnas, an associate of Trump's attorney Rudy Giuliani, publicly implicated the president in the Ukrainian pressure campaign during a series of television interviews. So the polls are now swinging in the direction of convict and remove Trump. I think we got a video, Mr. Engineer, a video clip number 2. Could you run that past us for just a moment so we could look and see in perhaps a more succinct way that the polls don't look so good for Tribulation Trump. Even Republicans are now saying that he ought to be removed from office.
This is the big number on the main question. Should the Senate vote to convict and remove President Trump from office? A slim majority of Americans in this poll, Brianna, 51% say yes, 45% say no. I want to show you some key demographics. It'll look like how we've seen America sort itself when it comes to President Trump's approval. But take a look among women. You'll see here first, 59% of women in this poll say convict and remove the president. 42% of men say so. That is a pretty significant gender gap. Again, we see that time and again in all polling related to President Trump. You'll see a familiar pattern here among race. Take a look. 86% of African Americans vote to convict and remove is what they want to see the Senate do. 65% of Hispanic Americans in this poll, 42% of white Americans in this poll. And age is also a telling factor. Take a look at the age divide here. Under 45 years old, 56% of those Americans want to see the president convicted and removed from office. 45 and older, only 47% want to see him convicted and removed from office.
And David, what does America think about whether witnesses should be included in the Senate trial?
This may be the most important number in the poll. 69% in this poll say yes, witnesses should be included. Brianna, you know that 70% of Americans don't agree on anything these days. This is a huge number, and look at it by party. This is fascinating. Look at this number here. 48% of Republicans believe there should be witnesses in this poll. 44% of Republicans say no. This number right here is going to be a critical number as Democrats try to seek to get those 4 Republican senators over to their side voting for witnesses. This is some political power to help them do so.
And what does the American public think about whether the charges against the president are true?
I find this fascinating. Take a look here. Majorities for both articles think they're true. 58% say President Trump did indeed abuse the power of office. 57% say he obstructed Congress as laid out in the articles. That means that this includes people who actually don't think he should be convicted and removed. But they're saying that what he's alleged of doing, he did.
So we got the O.J. Simpson paradigm. I mean, everybody knows Trump is guilty. There's no doubt about that. Some people don't think perhaps he should be removed from office, as you can see by that poll. But 69% of the American people believe that there should be witnesses in the trial, that there should be documents submitted. I think that what Mitch McConnell is doing is that Mitch McConnell is a much swifter and smarter tactician and politician than what we see him now. What he's doing, he's imposing upon the Senate, upon the Democrats. He'll give you 24 hours to be able to make your case, but you must do it within 2 days, meaning, and the trial cannot start until 1 o'clock in the afternoon because Justice Roberts has to take care of his Supreme Court duties over at the Supreme Court Justice, and then he comes over by 1 o'clock, meaning that the trial, the presentation by the Democrats would go way into the middle of the mornings, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning while the trial is still going on. I don't know that Justice Roberts himself would want to sit for 12 hours into the wee hours of the morning. I don't know what he want to do that. He may decide to, wait, we need to change this and expand the days, make the days longer so the hours of testimony can be 6 or 7 hours, and that's enough per day. But I think it's absolutely unequivocally clear that 69% of the people believe, American people, both Republicans and Democrats, believe that there should be evidence, there should be witnesses. So we're going to see how all that's going to play out. But Tribulation Trump is now calling the shots, and he's really making Mitch McConnell look dumb and stupid because it's going to be a backlash. The American people are going to say, well, you know, you're trying to cover this thing up. You're trying to hide it. And the fact that you don't want witnesses, why not? Because if Trump is innocent, if it was a perfect phone call, as Trump says it was a perfect phone call, then why not bring Mick Mulvaney and why not bring John Bolton and why not bring Duffy and others in to testify and exculpate the fact that you are innocent, that you didn't do anything wrong? Why not? Why not do that? But the fact that you won't let them testify, I mean, if you got witnesses that can testify that you did nothing wrong, they were in the room, then bring them on. Why are you keeping them from the process? Well, we know the reason for that is because the boy's guilt is sin. And what will happen is that, of course, if these witnesses testify, we're going to find out some stuff that's uglier than Curtis McKinnon. I mean, we're going to find out some ugly stuff about Trump that has been hidden during his presidency, and that's the reason why they don't want these witnesses to testify, nor the documents to be made. But I suspect, as I said in my earlier piece, that Justice Roberts is not going to be Judge Lance Ito. I can't see it. All things are possible. He very well might be. He may act like Justice Ito, and and Trump might get off like O.J. Simpson. But I don't see Justice Roberts doing that. I see him thinking more about his own legacy. This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I am he. I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.